Hey guys, welcome back to the Self-Made Training Facility Coaches Corner.
Y'all ready for this?
You gonna play the song now? Is that Too Limited or Too Limited or something?
Yeah, something like that.
So they're not ready for the truth about fat loss.
Oh, they're actually not ready, yeah.
So first thing, if you want to step on stage and you think you have 15 pounds to lose, double it, because you probably have twice as much than you actually feel on your body.
Facts.
I remember my first show when I was in Abu Dhabi. I think I weighed like 220 pounds going into the show or so. I remember stepping on stage and I was like, I got 20 pounds or so, 178 pounds. And, I felt like a little surfer, bro. I was all skinny, but that was what it took to get lean enough, And even then I probably could have lost more. Mm-hmm. That was my first show that I ever did. And I did all the prep and everything on my own. So back then it was just in the forums online and reading people's before Reddit, before we had online coaching, all that stuff, mm-hmm. back in 2011. So there's a lot of different times, a lot more information now. So what is your biggest fat loss plateau or something from your past that you didn't know about fat loss and you just kind of kept square peg round hole and kept trying to hammer something and fat loss just got stalled for you?
One of my biggest hangups is coming from boxing to bodybuilding when it comes to fat loss.
Oh, the extreme weight change.
The extreme weight changes and the things we do differently in the combat sports, mm-hmm. in the combat world. We're very extreme athletes. We do the same move a billion times.
Right.
But that being said, to cut weight, we're doing the most extreme things and trying to adapt the bodybuilder's lifestyle, the bodybuilder's mindset is a lot different. You don't do those extreme. You don't need to do those extreme measures. It's about showing off your muscles on stage versus just coming in, just making a weight. For the most part, you know what I mean? You still got to make a weight in certain
Do you think
divisions.
A lot of people that come from fight sports struggle with the making weight or the weight class their first few shows because they're so worried about making weight that they don't care? They end up losing the care of how they look because they focus on the weight so much?
I think they could, or at least that was my problem. That was my issue. I had a problem with under-eating severely because to lose weight for combat sports, you under-eat, right? You don't eat much. Back then, you do. Now, nutrition is a big high point. Now people know they got to eat more to lose more. That's kind of it's more pronounced now than it was back then. But yeah, that's one thing that I know coming from bodybuilding to fighting or vice versa. Mm-hmm. That's one thing that definitely took me by storm, and I had to learn the hard way.
Yeah, you mentioned how nutrition is, we know a lot more now.
Yeah.
And so that brings us to the metabolism, right? And metabolic adaptation. I remember the old school way of, you got to eat 8 meals a day. You got to eat every 2.5 hours to keep your metabolism going. And for a bodybuilder who's growing, they need to eat that often because they need to consume that much food if they're 300 pounds of muscle. If you're telling some average Joe, average Jane, who's a 150-pound lady who wants to be 135 again, to eat 8 times a day, that's 8 times she has to make a mistake. Mm-hmm. And she's probably going to overeat if they're eating that frequently, right?
Right.
And we used to say, you need to eat that many times a day to keep your metabolism going. But in reality, it's more about your metabolic adaptation, right? Mm-hmm. And what have you seen is the number one issue with someone who's come to you as weight loss when it comes to how much food they're eating or have been eating before they come to you?
The one I see the most is them under eating. Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely under eating.
Because that metabolic adaptation, they've adapted to that low level of calories.
Yes.
Now, every little mistake they make is above that.
Yes.
And those little mistakes are now the ones that are adding up.
Yes.
But they're normal. It's almost like they eat like birds during the week, just light little bits. Mm-hmm. And then it comes the weekend and they have one little meal, that thing's getting stored because that little flame of their metabolism is so low because during the week they've been eating so little.
Right.
And I don't know if you've seen this, but when people come to me and they've come for fat loss and you start giving them more food, but it's whole food, healthier food, less preservatives, things like that. And then the first week's I can't eat that much.
Yes.
I can't eat that much food. And
Every time.
It's not the amount of calories, it's the amount of volume because it's healthier, right? And they feel bloated and full because there's vegetables. Oh my gosh, we're eating vegetables now. Weird. And then what happens in about week 2? That same amount of food. Coach, I'm starving. I'm starving.
Yep.
And then what do? You give them a little more of the good stuff, a little more food.
Right.
And then they're like, okay, feel good. Then another 2 weeks, what happens?
Starving. Again, I can't.
And then they start putting on muscle.
Yep.
And now that same person that was eating maybe 1,300 calories because they were starving themselves, but you gave them high quality, usable food.
Right.
And now they're hungry. They're putting on muscle. They eat more protein. They put on muscle. Now they're building their metabolism. They're building that metabolic rate. And now they're able to consume a lot more food. And they're building muscle, losing body fat.
Right.
They're adapting that metabolism to a much healthier place. What is one thing that you've seen about the cheat meals, though, and new clients? Do you have a policy on cheat meals?
I got a policy on cheat meals for sure. But I use it more. The way I structure it is have one meal during the week or on the weekend with your family. Usually, I like them to eat all their meals like on a Saturday evening. Go out, eat your meals during the day, and then at night, at the evening, have one nice cheat meal. But I limit them to just one per week.
Do you give them a calorie count or any direction, or just say one sitting?
Competitors, yes. Average Joes, no.
Gotcha.
I just let them eat because they're not trying to step on stage, and typically they're not going to go that. I've never had anyone go super crazy to where they mess themselves up tremendously.
For a new
plus,
client,
that takes a lot in order for you to mess up that much. It takes a lot. But yeah, so I usually give them that one cheat meal per week, and that seems to get them by. They can go really hard for the week, and then Friday or Saturday, go out with your family, enjoy with your loved ones, enjoy one meal with them, and then next day get right back on track.
For a new client, do you restrict them like, hey, I really want you to be on plan for like 10 days, 14 days before giving them that cheat meal?
I don't. No.
First week they're allowed one?
Yeah, because the people that I come in encounter with, they can't follow directions very well. So it's like it's a game I have to play with them. If I know someone's really strict and they're determined and they really want their goal, then there's the few people that I've had say, all right, you don't need a cheat meal, you don't need a refeed. I call it a refeed. I don't like the cheat meal and the cheat day thing. That just goes crazy. Cheat day? There's not a day you just cheat all day.
Right.
But
can't even stay strict for one day. Why you go on cheat for one day?
So those people, few and far in between, I usually give them like either no cheat meals for like 3 or 4 weeks. Till we reach a good spot, or I'll add one in when I feel like they need one, and I listen to them. We have conversations, and if they're telling me, hey, I'm really low on this, or I don't feel this way, I could barely drive into work today. My husband had to pick me up because I couldn't drive. Anything that sticks during the conversation, and I'll probably say, okay, you go take a day off, have this meal, and then let me know how you feel tomorrow. So once they hit that certain level, then I'll give them a refeed. But that's the really extreme people. Most people, like I said, they can't. Nobody's gonna follow the directions. Everybody's gonna be taking nibbles here, nibbles there.
Right, they're adding up that cheat meal with all those little oopsies all week long, adds up to a cheat meal. I find that for new clients, I like to have it so that they don't have a cheat meal for 2 weeks. And especially if within the first week of starting, and 100% if it's the first day during consultation, if they ask me about cheat meals during the consultation,
keys.
Taking it out, we're not having a cheat meal for a while. At least nothing planned. You can go mess around, eat whatever you want, and lie to me. Great. I'll be able to see it on you when you send your progress picture, and that lump is still there. Yeah. It's not supposed to be there, right? But if you ask in a consultation about your cheat meal, are you even here? Seriously? Like, do you really want to be here? Do you really want to make change? Right. It's like a drug addict going to a freaking rehab, being like, all right, when can I get my first, little fix? If you're trying to quit cigarettes and the first thing you ask your coach is, well, after 10 days, can I get one? You're like, are you here to quit it? Yeah. Or are you here to just play around and pretend? Which is fine. You're going to pay me the same amount of money regardless, but how much effort am I going to put into you knowing your personality, right?
Right.
So I have an online client who keeps asking, oh, should I take this other peptide? Should I take that other peptide? Like, I heard that this is good. I'm like, man, for what we already have you on and what you're already taking, you lost 15 pounds in January. We're at like 22 pounds for the year already.
Right.
It's not even the middle of March yet. And we're already down 22 pounds. Like, why? You're going in a great trajectory. Why do you want to keep taking more stuff when your fat loss is going exactly as planned, if not faster than planned?
Right.
You know?
One thing I do from some of my clients, I've adapted this style because I find I try to set people up for a win, not a failure, right? So typically, some people that come in, I'll have them not even change their diet for the first week or two, get their bodies acclimated to the workouts. Right. Some people haven't worked out in years, and they come in here, my goal is I just want you to get through the workout and then let me know how you feel afterwards. All right, just give me three workouts this week and let me know how you feel. And then once you get acclimated, used to the workout, recovery and coming back, now I add the meal plan in. But right away, I don't like to overwhelm. I feel like I would overwhelm them if they know they can't do the simple tasks to get there. I don't want to overwhelm them by telling them, all right, these are the days you're going to train. This is your meal plan. I need to see you at 100% right away. I like to set them up a little bit for the long success, the long game, and I'll have them come in maybe the first 2 weeks, 3 weeks, maybe a month, just working out. Now we'll start adding in. Now you got the energy. Now we'll start adding in the food, and now you're gonna see a bigger change. Now you get acclimated like that. So.
Yeah, it's different approach. Like, I almost tell them that the food's more important. I say, if you're not willing to start the food, then you're just paying me to hang out in here. Right. Because we know that you can't out-train a bad diet.
Facts.
Right.
Yeah.
So now, when it comes with food, and you talk about recovery right there. So it brings me into this, which is, we need to match our intake with our output, right? And so that comes with cardio, which we've talked about in the last episode. But how do you manage stalls? Would you first add cardio, or add steps, or add activity in any way, or do you pull food? What do you find you like to do first when you hit a stall?
I'll change the activity first. I'm an activity first, yeah.
Yeah. Do you have, whether it's competitor or lifestyle, you may do it differently, step count and cardio count as far as like what you would adjust? Do you like to add cardio? Do you do mostly steps? How are you kind of like manipulating the clients right now?
Depending on how many steps they take a day, usually that's the easy one to adjust. Because you can kind of see it. Most people wear Apple Watch or Fitbit. So I'd ask them, let me know at the end of the day, on average, how many steps you're taking, and then I'll bump that up. I need you to get this. So if you didn't get it here during your day, then you're at your sit-down job. If you didn't did all these steps in, by the time before you go to bed, I need you to make sure you got 10,000 steps in that day. That's one thing I like to try to control. That way it's not like super stressful on them to do that. But if they're a competitor, then I'll add 5-10 minutes of cardio here or there as needed. I'll go there. The last thing I want to do is change the foods, because I feel like the foods are working and they're being consistent with it. But there is that time that comes where you do need to change the food. So.
Right. It depends on where they started too. If you have to start someone low on calories, not much food you can pull if they get stuck, right? And sometimes you need to add food. We talked about like building the metabolism. So if I find that a client's coming to me and they're only eating 1,000 calories a day and the goal is fat loss, I may tell them like, hey, we're going to like rehabilitate your metabolism in the next 6 weeks. I just want us to stay around the same body weight, but I want us to eat 50% more calories in 6 weeks. So by the end of that 6 weeks, I want them, instead of being at 1,000 calories a day, I want them at 1,600 calories a day. And then we can start introducing a little bit more cardio or pull a little bit back on the food once we're at a more healthy calorie intake. Obviously, that was for someone who is like lower body weight or whatever. But when you have these people and clients that are coming to you, and a lot of times they're kind of at their wit's end or their last rope, like you're the last hope. They've already tried this diet, they've already tried this cardio or this, fit tea or detox or, I know you like fasting, but they maybe tried some like drink these special juices from some shop for a week or whatever, and they lost 10 pounds of water and they're all stoked, and now it all came back the minute they ate one thing, right?
Right.
So the stress and the cortisol that they're coming to you is probably pretty high when they're starting with you. We have to remember that too. Like if they're not sleeping well and they're not recovering, and we start changing their food, and we change their steps, and we change their cardio, and we change everything in their life, it's going to ripple into other areas of their life too.
Right.
So implementing a cheat meal and allowing it right away, I can see could be stress reduction. I found that too in prep, where my coach gave me like 2 days of a refeed. It was clean food, but it was like an extra 200 carbs each day. And then told me no cardio for 4 days, and I lost weight. And like I like inflammation went down, like swelling in the legs went down, like lines came back. Scientifically looking on paper, I should have gained weight. I ate more carbs, I did less activity, and I dropped.
Right.
But that was because I was in extreme state, deep in prep. I was holding on to water. Everything was washed out. It just didn't look good. Nothing popped, right? And that little change that he made doesn't make sense to like maybe a lifestyle client, but the same physiology and the same science and metabolism can be used in lifestyle clients. And I think it's kind of fun when we do that little prep trick or something to a lifestyle client, because they're not really ready for it.
Oh yeah.
So you have a story for us about like when you've done like a prep trick for a lifestyle client and they're like, what the heck? I know David was a lifestyle client, then he did a competition.
Yeah.
Did you throw any tricks at him that didn't make sense maybe to him?
One trick, I think, taking them through the peak week process. Mm-hmm. I do that from time to time. I'll throw some of my clients have to get ready for a photo shoot or something like that. Mm-hmm. Do like a mock peak week.
Right.
And I'll have them, I think the burger and fry trick. I guess I'll call it that. Mm-hmm. Or I have them eat a burger and fry the night before after I manipulated their water a little bit, and then they wake up and they're drier and tighter. And I'm like, what? I'm going to eat burgers all the time.
Is it an In-N-Out burger or a Five Guys burger?
Well, the guy we're talking about, David, he still to this day can't stop eating In-N-Out because he thinks it's a magic pill. It's going to happen again. Yeah. So
he's gonna cut that out.
Yeah. Even.
He's in the AI and be like, David's the best client ever. He always listens to everything I say.
Yeah, I mean, since that magic night where he came out and he was ripped the next morning after eating In-N-Out, he eats In-N-Out.
It's not working, coach.
Right.
I got another one.
He still eats it every single week. Like, all right, bro. Okay, all right.
And then coach said.
Yeah, he stuck on what I said last year.
Yeah. Selective listening, huh?
Right?
Selective hearing. What is the number one thing that you can leave us with that you think people have wrong about fat loss? Whether it's like either coaches do wrong, or that like the perception of fat loss techniques from like society has wrong, or a misconception that they got.
There's a lot of misconceptions out there, or what they're doing wrong. I mean, it's so much. Like, and what do you think?
So I got one that most people think that if you could just work harder, you can keep outworking, and that's like the number one thing that we forget, that recovery, sleep, all that stuff is when we lose the most fat. If you look at like your respiration and fat loss, lipolysis, being in an oxidative state, most of that and most of the time spent in that state, like you're sleeping.
Yeah.
And so if you're in prep and you were sleeping like 7 hours a night in the off season, and all of a sudden now you're sleeping 4.5 hours a night, like your reduction in sleep is going to negatively impact your mitochondrial health. And as you diet longer, you're going to be more stressed out, and your ability to lose fat at the point when you need it most is going to be reduced. Mm-hmm. So the coaches that are still like, all right, you're doing an hour Stairmaster, let's go to an hour and a half. No. You're going to add 50% more cardio to a client who's in a stressed out state. Yeah. And you wonder why girls are having hair loss, or their thyroid hormones are in the trash because you didn't give them a refeed. And we have science that like directly shows and correlates that in a state of low carbohydrates, like a ketogenic diet, Atkins diet, stuff like that, your body responds by producing less thyroid hormone. So now you're going to push them harder and make them do more cardio in that state. Like, and you wonder why these people are freezing up backstage or getting sick and then having to pull out of shows or having hormonal issues. So I think the always push is the number one thing that coaches get wrong. Okay. They keep pushing when they need to learn how to pull back.
Right. I would say the weekend. Not carrying on with their diets through the weekend.
Right.
And then on top of that, the drinking. A lot of people, for some reason, think that just drinking less is still going to help them. And it's just, especially when you're in a phase where you're really trying to cut, you really want to see your results. And first of all, you're not following your diet 100%, and then you follow it, then you don't follow it all the way on the weekends, and then you add a little bit of drinking on top of that. It just cancels out. You know what I mean? It's not a good spot to start the week with.
The easiest way that people can understand it in layman's terms would be like, when your liver's processing alcohol, it's not processing the fat. Which, I mean, is not exactly how it works, but if you think about it, liver's over here, busy dealing with the alcohol, all that, those chicken wings and pizza you're eating are sliding past the goalie, right, straight to the storage unit, right there. Yeah. So it's true, and it's a lot more complex, like scientifically than that. It's an easy way to look at it. So now, if you had pro tip for a lifestyle client on besides the cut out the alcohol, pro tip, something easily actionable that they can do today or they can start to enhance or increase their fat loss. What's the easy tip for them?
Be aware of what you're eating and start looking at the labels on the back of your meals. Track your foods, write them down. That's an easy one because now you're going to start really seeing what you're eating. You think you think you can guesstimate, but you're going to get it wrong. So track all your ingredients, look at the back of it, write it down, and then you'll be shocked, you'll be surprised.
Be aware, just like you would in business. You want to know your key performance indicators, know what's going into your body. So last episode you heard are you actually training enough? So we talked about training, and then we talked about a lot of nutrition aspects here with the truth about fat loss. And a fun one coming for you next time is PEDs, performance enhancing drugs. This, in 2026, are we being smarter or are we being more reckless? So stay tuned for that episode. Like, share, subscribe. And if you have any questions, comment below.
We out.
We out.